All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for jumping on with me today. And pleasure, as always, to be able to share with you the training that we do every single Saturday. So my name is Jeremy Jenkins, for those that don't know me, and it's my pleasure to be able to share with you step number 3 of the 10 steps to success. Up until now, we've shared the idea of setting your why, or creating your why, the reason why you're doing the business, the reason why you want find financial freedom and all those things, the motivation, right, behind everything. Because if you don't have the motivation, if you don't have a reason, then it's hard to keep going, right? It's hard to overcome the obstacles that always come up, right? It's not that it's difficult to do what we do. It's just sometimes we get lazy, right? Sometimes life happens and gets in our way and makes it so that we can't move forward. So we have to define our why. And then, of course, step number 2 is all about creating your list and finding people to be part of your business, because that's what we're doing, right? As networkers, we're building teams. We are leaders. We are, like to say, cheerleaders, right? We're influencers. We're individuals that, the reason the company pays us is because we're bringing value to the company by using our influence, by creating teams, by creating duplication, all that stuff. And so they provide the vehicle, right? The company provides the vehicle, and we now have to fill up the gas tank. And the fuel that we're putting in the gas tank is the people that we bring in, right? And we can bring in lots and lots of customers, lots of people that just want to participate, with the products and services, or we can create other leaders who duplicate what we're doing. And so that's all step number 2. Now, step number 3 is all about setting those goals, right? Setting the goals to do that, because that's what we do. We achieve certain ranks so we can increase our income, and we do that by building our team, right? That's how you do it, by increasing volume, by increasing sales, by increasing our influence and the duplication. That's what we're all about as professional networkers. Is we get the word out there, we influence, and not only influence by recruiting and bringing brand new people in, but influence by duplication and motivation and helping people accomplish, right, and duplicate what we have done as leaders. And the way to do that is through goals. Why? Well, here's a study that they did. So Mark McCormick, in his book "What They Don't Teach You at Harvard," talks about a study that they did back in 1979, and then later, 10 years later, in 1989. In 79, Harvard graduates were asked, "Hey, do you have any clear goals written for your future? And have you made any plans to achieve them?" Right? Well, it turns out that only 3% of graduates had written plans and goals. 13% had goals, but they weren't written. And then 84% had no specific goals other than leaving school and enjoying the summer. Right? So 10 years later, in 1989, they interviewed those same graduates again. And they found out that the 13% who had unwritten goals were earning on average about 2 times more than the 84% who had no goals. But more amazing, they found that the 3% who had specific and written goals upon leaving Harvard were actually earning on average 10 times more than the other 97%. So the only difference really between the groups was the clarity of the goals when they graduated, right? Were they written? So super important to have goals and to write them down, because they are guideposts. They are what help us to achieve everything else that we're talking about. Okay. So obviously we start with a desire, right? You have to have that intense personal desire, so intense that nothing but the idea of achieving it excites you and makes you happy, right? So that was step number 1, defining your why. And they got to be clear and specific, defined with words. You got to write it in such a way that a child could read and understand it. So, for example, you want to be measured and qualified, right? I want to earn $100,000 per year before such and such a time. And then it has to be attainable. It cannot be so great that it can never be achieved. And then, of course, it has to be in harmony with your other goals and according to your own personal values, right? So, as Antoine de Saint said, a goal without a plan is just a wish. Okay. So, let's start out by saying, yes, it needs to be attainable. And you need to believe that. Okay. So we have to change the way we think. We have to change our lives. We have to take out the trash. We have to select the beliefs that we want, right? And then we have to act as if we already achieved the goal. We have to be consistent with our actions and our words. And then, of course, it must be something based on what we can do, not based on what other people do. So here's an example, right? A lot of people will say, oh, I'm going to sign up 2 people tomorrow, or I'm going to sign up 3 people this week, right? Or whatever it is. And the unfortunate thing about that kind of a goal is it's based on what other people will do, not based on what you will do, right? Because if you say I'm going to sign up 3 people this week, and you talk to a bunch of people, and none of them want to do it, maybe it's just the timing, right? Maybe it's the what's going on in the world, the economics, the markets, whatever it is. Right? There's all these reasons why people might not want to do it. But now you feel like a failure because you didn't sign up 3 people this week. Well, but that's not on you, right? So the smart thing to do is to set goals that you can do, that depend on you. So instead of saying I'm going to sign up 3 people this week, I'm going to say I'm going to talk with 2 people tomorrow. I'm going to talk with 20 people this week, because talking with somebody, that's on you, right? That's whether you did it or not. So if you talked to 20 people, great, you achieved the goal. If you only talked to 19, well, you almost achieved the goal, but you know what? It's on you, right? It wasn't because there weren't 20 people to talk to. It was because you probably just got lazy and didn't do it, right? So that's the important thing. Set goals that depend on you, because then you can achieve it, right? And it's you don't have the excuse that somebody else just didn't want to. Okay. Then of course you write it down. A goal not written is not a goal. It's just not. Okay. The mere act of writing on paper increases the possibility of achieving it. You got to have no limitations on there, right? And you got to write and rewrite the goals daily, week after week, month after month, and ask yourself constantly, how will I measure success in achieving this goal? So as it says here, a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan, and a plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. So we're going to decide where to start. Where are we now, right? We have to be honest in the reality of our current situation. We have to practice zero-based thinking. In other words, don't let the past determine your future. Okay, it doesn't matter what's happened in the past with other companies, with other opportunities, whatever. We're starting fresh here. Okay, so that's the important thing. We don't want to let anything in the past determine where we're going. And we're going to imagine starting over, right? Remember that you are not obligated by anything that happened in the past at all, right? And we're going to create a strategic plan. Right, now we're going to determine why you want it. Okay, so you're going to make your list of the benefits of achieving that goal. We're going to practice that blue sky thinking, right? We have no limits. The sky is the limit. Okay, we're going to create an ideal future. And if we have 1 or 2 reasons to achieve the goal, we're going to have just a little bit of motivation. But if we have 40 or 50 reasons that you want to do it, you're going to be so motivated, nobody can stop you. Okay, so why do goals matter? Well, it's a simple truth. Your team can't achieve a goal it doesn't know about. Okay, you have to tell them what the goal is. So people who set goals are definitely more successful. 69% of high-performing companies rank communicating business goals company-wide as the most effective and important way to build a high-performing team. You got to set the expectation. You got to let people know what is wanted from them, and for you personally, right? This is what I expect. Oh, okay, we got to go do it then. All right, and you're going to put a time limit on it, right? Without a date, there's not enough motivation. You got to have that. Hey, by this date, we're going to do it. Commitment. Leave excuses aside. Make up your mind and don't let anything distract you. You're going to do it 100%. There's a big difference between doing something 95% and 100%. Then we're going to close. You got to do that follow-up, right? Unfinished tasks, unresolved personal issues leave us dissatisfied and cause stress and failure. And then set the target. If you don't hit it for whatever reason, just set another date, but try and stick to those dates, okay? As Mark Batterson said, goals are dreams with deadlines. Without those deadlines, our dreams are dead in the water. Okay, so then we're going to identify the obstacles, right? If you are not at your goal already, what stopped you, right? Of all the obstacles, which one is the biggest? Let's analyze that and attack it. There's a rule, the 80-20 rule, right? Where 80% of the reasons you don't achieve a goal are internal. You have to recognize that it's pretty much your fault. I mean, there's going to be those few times where it wasn't your fault. Maybe you got a flat tire on your way to a meeting, or whatever, things happen, right? So maybe that kind of stuff could happen, but most of it is just on you. Okay. Don't blame the people and circumstances around you. Think in terms of solutions, not difficulties. The two biggest obstacles are just fear and doubt. That's it, right? Everything else is just secondary. If you can overcome your fear and doubt, you can believe in it, you're going to do it. And then the key to success is knowledge and skill, right? As Henry Ford said, obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off the goal. Okay, so we're going to determine the knowledge and the skills we need too, because the better we get, the easier it's going to be to achieve our goals, right? So you're only one ability away from doubling your productivity, right? Excellence is a journey. Everything that is worth doing is worth doing badly at the beginning. So whether it's learning online marketing, whether it's learning a second language, whatever it is you want to do to improve yourself, you can double your productivity or 10 times it. Okay, here's the formula: 3 + 1. So the first three things. First, you're going to read about that skill every day, even just for 15 minutes. Second, you're going to listen to audio or videos or whatever, maybe while you're driving or on the bus or whatever you're doing. And third, you're going to then go to seminars or workshops and other things, right? Online classes, whatever it takes on the subject. And then finally, it's putting it into practice, right? Taking action, right? So that was, hey, I want to learn how to use YouTube to make videos. Oh, well, I'm going to go and read about it, read instruction. There's tons of free stuff online. You're going to watch other YouTube videos probably about how to do YouTube videos. And, then you're going to go to actual classes, and that it can be all for free. I mean, there's paid stuff out there too if you want to do it, but there's so much free information. It's just a matter of deciding, and then go and practice. Just do it. Doesn't matter if you mess up. It doesn't matter if you're, if you do something dumb. You can always just go delete your YouTube video, or you can, whatever. So don't worry about it. Just go do it. Just practice it. Practice, practice, practice. That's how you get better at it, and that's how you become more effective in your goals. Then we're going to determine who are the people that can help you, because you don't want to do it alone, right? That's the whole point of what we do as networkers. We depend on the team. The team has different skill sets and different abilities, and we can all teach each other and help each other and lift each other up. And because it's all about those relationships, right? The more people you know, the more successful you're going to be. And so approaching the right people, believing that who also respect who you are and who want to achieve the same things, it's going to make it easier, right? And the most important relationships, family and friends, are critical, because if your life at home is good, then everything else is going to be better, right? There's nothing worse than getting in a fight with your spouse or one of your kids or something, and then you're just not in the mood, right? So make sure you maintain those relationships first. Then become a relationships expert. The golden rule, right? Do unto others what you want them to do to you is so important. Then, of course, treat everyone at home and in the business as a $1 million customer, because they are, right? They could turn into that. You never know when somebody's going to be a golden prospect, right? A golden leader in your team. You'll treat them like they already were, and it's more likely they'll become that. Then we're going to make a plan to put it all together, right? We're going to make a list of each task and activity. We're going to determine the priority and the sequence, and see which ones are more important to accomplish first. We're going to identify the vital elements of the plan and focus on them. We're going to expect failure at the beginning. We're going to focus on the solution. We're going to review our plan regularly, and we're going to manage our time. Setting the goal, making the plan, get to work, stick to it, and reach the goal. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. Then we're going to visualize, right? We're going to feed the mind with exciting images. We're going to get, maybe some images of people that we want to be like, from magazines, newspaper, whatever, right? We're going to paste them everywhere. And we're going to take daily time to meditate for at least 10 minutes, thinking about the goals and how you will achieve them. Get it in your brain, right? And then, of course, never give up. You're going to decide from the beginning, you're never going to give up. You're going to make the decision that no matter the obstacle, you will persevere. You're going to have that self-discipline. so you can have that the success that you want. And remember that as good as your plan is, life will give you adversity and problems. So you just gotta stick with it. The number one reason why people give up so fast is because they tend to look at how far they still have to go instead of how far they have gotten. So my friends, with that, we're going to move on. Step number 4 is all about being committed, right? It's the commitment, and that's what we're talking about here. Is once we've set our goals, how do we now stick to it? Okay, and that will be the topic for next Saturday for step number 4. So please join us. If you're watching the recording, great. You can skip ahead and just go right into step number 4. But if you're watching this live, sorry, you got to wait a week. We will be back next Saturday to talk about step number 4, and it's going to be awesome. So with that, get back to your Saturday.